Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight.
Well, that went sideways very quickly. Enough of that utter nonsense. Enough of that utter nonsense.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I am a little quiet. Okay, that makes it a little bit better. Sorry about that. Thanks. Merry Christmas, folks. Welcome back to the program, wherever you are around the world. It's always a pleasure to have you join me on this Christmas. The problem is that, the microphone's acting up, so every time while I'm starting the program, I unplug it, plug it back in, and then I just, with this pop filter on here now, it's difficult to see the red color, so it doesn't jump out at me. But anyway, those are excuses. Sorry about that. Alan, you're a little bit behind. The sound is back. It has been back for over a minute. So welcome back. Thank you, though, for pointing it out. Anyway, as I was trying to get into saying there, thanks, everybody, for joining us. It's always a pleasure. And, now I'm completely off my game here because of the microphone. What was I saying? Where was I going with all this? Well, where was I going? Oh, yeah. So I'm off my game. Speaking of being off your game, off my game a little bit because I've got a stack of bills that have been paid and financial statements that need to be filed, piling up for the past 6 weeks that I'm just not in the mood to file. I've got to pay taxes, which I'm not in the mood to pay. If I make sure I get the money to pay them. I'm also, I haven't been exercising this past week. I'm not depressed. I'm just not really in a mood. I've got 2 articles that I'm drafting, neither of which I'm really in a rush to finish, although one has to be finished today if it's going to be published in a local newspaper. So I got to get on top of that. was working on that before the broadcast, so that's one reason I was about 2 minutes late. I had to finish a paragraph and edit it. So anyway, 2 days to Christmas. Thank you for that, Meerkat. Yeah, I did the 2 days for Christmas. That was a while ago. So yeah, it just, it's Christmas is usually a magical time for me. I set up streams. Last year kind of put me on a sour note. I had invited musicians and artists to appear. And the first and second year I did it, I had some show up for Christmas. Others didn't, just pop in for a couple minutes. But people seem to have lost interest in it. I seem to be one of the few people that actually gives a flip and wants to continue it. So I haven't invited anybody this year to come on the program. And I'm not even convinced I'm going to wear the Santa Claus suit on Christmas Day. I just not in the mood, folks. And I'm not because I'm not in a Christmassy mood. I'm just not in the mood. And it has nothing to do with me turning 29 again this year. That's nothing to do with me turning 29. It's just, I don't know. It's just something just isn't there this year. You would think I'd be really good and happy and ready to roll, what with the rolling back of wokeness in America that is underway, at least the effort to roll it back. So you'd think I'd be in a good mood. But I don't know. I just, something's a little bit off kilter there. I'm not sure what it is, but welcome back to the program. Yeah, thanks for the compliments on the sweater. I do like this sweater. It doesn't itch. It's comfortable. It fits. It's got a nice look for wintertime. And with the beard and my hair today, it's looking pretty good, huh? Look at that. Yeah. Let's let a little vanity slip in there. Looking dead sexy. Evacuation complete. Austin Powers. You're only as old as the women you feel. Oh, my goodness. My wife is 41. Oh, good Lord, Charles. You're going to get yourself in trouble with that one. All right. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. And Charles says, win. Arc Precision, Allison Johnson. Ants is back. Ants, how you doing? Kristen, Janet Lydia from South Carolina. Neville Purden in from London. Wilma Erasmus, Allison Johnson, Robert Franklin Moore in from PE, if I'm not mistaken. Hope you're all in the Christmas spirit. Okay. Yeah, London probably has no Christkindl mark because London is run by a wackadoodle, shameful, anti-Christian Muslim. Yep, that's the bottom line. The idiots in London voted for an anti-Christian Muslim who hates English people and has banned knives. And more people have been murdered since he banned knives than before. Arc Precision's here. Alan Kotza, Gert Gillich, Brian Lawrenson, Meerkat, William Peters. Well, William, there's not much of a pre-show today. We don't do that. There's a reason for that. I don't understand why people can make comments about that. I mean, nobody complains about, and this is not William Peters, but no one complains about the channels that have 500,000, 2 million, 4 million, 5 million subscribers, and they sit there and they do nothing except play music in the background and play the same thing over and over again for 10 or 15 minutes. Or they come on and they just they don't do anything for 10 or 15 minutes before they get into the teeth of what they're there about. No one complains about that as they run up advertising dollars and they run up viewed hours so that gets them more attention. That's not the reason I do it. The reason I do it is because YouTube hides my content and it's a chance for my viewers to find it, those who don't remember to come every day or forget that I have a daily broadcast. That's why I do it. So we know for a fact that when I don't play music, when I start the program and immediately start doing the news, I have 6, 8, 10 viewers and I don't get them for 5 or 10 minutes. And then for the next hour, I constantly get, well, what about this? What about this story? What about this story that I've already covered because nobody was there in the first 5 minutes when I highlighted. So there's the reason why I do it. Derek Duprier is back. Welcome, Derek. How's it going? Vilma Erasmus. Okay. Jonathan, just Jono Church. Hey, how you doing there, Jonathan? It's fine. How is the weather in the Western Cape? Okay. Sue Walsh is here. If you don't want to wear a Santa suit, how about birthday suit? No. I'll keep that going. Kitty Written. Rory Duncan. Hello. Yeah, Trump is busy breaking the internet, Dave. Now he wants Greenland and the Panama Canal Zone. But we're going to talk about Mozambique to start the program off here in just a few minutes, where the court has judged that the ruling party won the election. No doubt that is going to cause chaos. I would advise not going near Mozambique right now. The Pens Elite. I found out today you share a birthday with Carl Nyhorst. Oh, my goodness. Carl Nyhorst was born on the 25th of December. Oh, I disown my birthday. Imperial aspirations by Trump. Yeah, well, why not? We've been accused of being an imperial power for years by leftists. Why not fulfill their wildest fantasies? Your channel, there's something new every time. Always looking forward to interview. Thank you, Meerkat. You're cooking. Yeah, it's kind of hot, I'll bet. It is, well, it was in the 20s yesterday. It's 22 degrees Fahrenheit. 21. The temperature's gone down this morning. Wow, 21 degrees Fahrenheit. There was frost outside everywhere. Yep, I had to warm up my car this morning. The Germans would lose their minds. I remember I lived in Germany. You can't start your car in the morning and let it run. Yeah, which leads to traffic accidents as cars are not fully lubricated and people drive away, hit their brakes which aren't warmed up and their engines which aren't warmed up. And yeah, anyway, so yeah, but it's all about the emissions. Yes, well, it's true. You get 30 million cars running or idling for 5 minutes, warming up every morning. In the wintertime, you definitely get some emissions from that. But I don't frankly give a flying flip because I spent my life being a good steward of this planet, and my car needs to run so it will move properly. So I warm it up. Got that remote start on it, which is kind of nice. Don't have to go climb in the car. 34 degrees Celsius. Ow, that's quite the opposite direction. 21 degrees Fahrenheit, which is going to make it, what, -7 Celsius, something like that? Oof, if not higher. 24 degrees with high humidity and Potgieteris. Okay. Now, why did I think you were in London, man? Okay, skidding off the road. Yeah, well, or running into people, hitting them from behind, that sort of thing, or losing control of your vehicle because it doesn't respond properly. Yeah, anyway, so welcome 20 in PE. Sorry, Christo, 20 in PE. Engine block heater. Yeah, kind of, Engman, but that's also going to produce carbon out emissions. Something has to make the engine block heater. Something has to power it. It's a zero-sum game. There's no gain here. So anyway. Garrett also doesn't feel Christmassy. I don't feel so much Christmassy, despite the snowman and the lights and all the stuff that's up. Yep, I won't forget the Advent calendar. Let's do that right now. Let's start with Hello Kitty. All right, Hello Kitty. We're looking for the 23rd, and there it is right there. Whoops, that fell on the floor. 3-second rule. 2, 1. Got it just in time for the 3-second rule. It's a bow. It's a bow. Actually, it's carpet underneath me, so we got more than 3-second rule. With carpet, you can extend that as long as the carpet's clean by, 4 or 5 seconds. It's a 7-second rule. Let's see. 23rd, 24, 23 is going to be one of these big ones probably. That's 24. There's 23. Okay. So we're almost there, folks. There's a Christmas tree. Christmas tree chocolate. All right. That's the Aldi. Let's get the Lidl. Okay, 23. There's 20. I guess that's 24. There's 23 over here. That looks like a train, I can tell from behind. And it is. It's a locomotive. It's a choo-choo train. Okay. That's the 3 chocolates. And we're almost out of those. And over to the 23rd. One more day on the Advents calendar, and then we're all done, folks. Apple chai black tea. That one sounds good. Apple tea. It's chai is silly. Chai is tea. We've had this conversation before. The humbuggers. Yeah, well, this year we could be the humbuggers. Sounds not so good. Right. Apple chai black tea. They love this black tea. Anyway, apple chai. All right. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Christmas boop, so I feel and see Christmas. Excellent. I'm glad to see you're feeling good about Christmas. Rainy Christmas like the past 4 years. How's it going? Dylan says, I help bring the Christmas mood in for Dylan. He's dreading when I shave. Well, I'm not dreading it. Last Christmas I really celebrated was in 1993. My goodness, Neville. I imagine we were going to see Colonel Chris with no beard on his birthday. We shall see what happens on my birthday. It's still Santa time, so we'll see. Debating what's going on there. That's the talk. Everyone's wondering about that. But will I even be recognized anymore? Will I be chubby suddenly? Will I be chubby when I claim my beard? Anyway. Or will we shave off the ears? Or will it be like the dude on Seinfeld who kept his hair short and Elaine was dating him? She goes, oh, you have lovely hair. Why don't you let it grow in? He let it grow in and found out he was bald. I'll never forget that. That was so funny. Anyway, let's see. All right, let's get to the news, folks. Mozambique's top court has ruled that Frelimo has indeed won the elections. This is not going to go very well with the V8 turbo demonstrations and protests that are going to take place that are, God bless it, it's itching there. The tag has got me there, so I can get my t-shirt underneath it there. There we go. Hopefully that'll stop it. It's itchy. Not because it's wool, but because the tags has rubbed my back there. Bald head, leave the beard. Mainly feeling non-Christmassy is the fatigue of the year catching up. I don't know, Dave. I don't know. It has been a long year. I mean, I wasted a lot of my personal savings to run for office fruitlessly in a corrupt campaign by the Republican Party. And so I find myself not entering office in the state legislature now when I could be. That was an exhausting run. I knocked on 3,000 doors. It was excruciating on my hip. And all for naught because of the corrupt Republican Party politicians. If they're just honest, I would have not wasted my money. I would have kept it in my savings. And then the exhausting trip to South Africa to cover the elections, which I thought I covered with great aplomb. That's my thoughts on it. I don't know what's your thoughts on it. I mean, 12, 14 polling stations on Election Day, got there the night before, literally arrived on scene last minute. Anyway, yeah. And then just, meeting and paying bills, dealing with a couple of health issues that have been resolved, but were distracting throughout the year. Handlebar stash for at least a day, says Hakan. Do we remember to greet Sue? I read Sue's comment. Sue said she's imagining me without a beard on Christmas Day. Yeah, I did the rounds on Elections Day, that's for sure. That also, and the Election Day was pretty exhausting and quite expensive. I went to all 19 of the polling stations that we had here in the district, which is something else. That's a lot of miles. Just driving to them one direction is probably around 160 kilometers. Yeah, probably something like that. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but yeah. And it's all back country roads. It's not highway to get to these places. So yeah, it's a peri-urban rural district. So anyway, that was exhausting. And just the whole campaign, getting advertising, finding people to support it, it was frustrating. And very interesting. But I'm glad I did it. My viewers encouraged me to do it, and I did it. So no one can say I never did it. So Mozambique's top court has determined that the elections were, in fact, won by Frelimo. Renamo is not going to take well to this. Mozambique's top court confirmed the ruling party Frelimo's victory in October, which sparked massive protest. They say the vote was not rigged. Constitutional Council has the final say of the electoral process, and its ruling is likely to spark further protest in Mozambique. Opposition leader Venancio Mondlane claims the October 9th vote was rigged in favor of Frelimo, and a separate court shows he won enough votes to take office. Folks, this is not going to go well. That is not a Christmas present for the people of Mozambique. Things are going to get ugly there. 145 murderers have benefited from insurance-related deaths in the Eastern Cape alone. Nelson Mandela Bay is the epicenter of insurance-related murders in the country, according to Police Minister Senzo Mkunu. Statistics reveal 67 people were murdered in the province for insurance payouts. Over the last 4 years, 145 criminals have benefited from the payouts. Wow. Between 2020 and 2024, at least 67 murders were committed in the PE area for the sole purpose of claiming insurance money. According to the police, 145 people benefited from those payouts linked to the murders. Through our investigations, we've been able to link at least 67 murders related to insurance cases. I need to state that I worry about this because in each of these cases, evidence points out the victims were murdered by either family, friends, or acquaintances who stand to receive large sums of money from banks or insurance companies. My goodness. Man, oh man. That's why I never like life insurance. Screw life insurance. Petra Myberg is back. Where the hell have you been? Merry Christmas, Petra. Been a while since we've seen you on here. The Mybergs have been missing. Welcome back. Or at least you've been quiet. I don't know which it is. Never live alone, and guess one day I felt more alone, so I won't ever do that again. What's this, Sue? What's this? Huh? What's going on with there? Arc Precision says, I have one wish for 2025. I want a world with common sense again. Well, I'm working on that. No, yeah, did they have the Independent Electoral Commission overseeing their elections? Yeah, no, they didn't, but that's a fair question in Mozambique. My brother and his wife live in Beira. Okay, wow, Neville. Well, I'm sure that they've got security measures in place. Well, forensic reports reveal that Panyazi Lesufi's corrupt government is at it again. Yep, the Gauteng Department of Social Development is got mismanagement, fraud, and corruption. Say it ain't so. Investigative and forensic reports into the funds dispersed by the Gauteng Department of Social Development have flagged serious concerns over fraud, corruption, and evidence that money meant to alleviate poverty never reached those in mind. No, I can't believe that the African National Congress Department of Social Development in Gauteng province under Panyazi Lesufi would ever steal money meant for the poor. No, I just can't believe it. Hang on a second. It's voting day. I have to vote for the ANC. No corruption. I have to vote for the ANC. Wow. Panyazi Lesufi. Oh, and these are the people that we are going to give control of our kids' education. Yes, because the ANC has been so successful at education, dumbing down the education standards, producing generations of functionally illiterate South Africans, racializing education, false racist attacks on white children, intimidating them, intimidating white educators, chasing them out, firing qualified educators to put in place predators and pedos who prey on pubescent and prepubescent children all over KZN, where 75% of the male teachers at one stage were HIV positive. Yes, a system that has produced over 4,000 pit latrines, holes in the ground, where 6-year-olds fall into and suffocate, dying, gasping through feces. Yes, we've seen such a great job by the ANC government, which in 2015 managed to build 100 schools nationwide. Today, out of the 23,900 schools, 100 were built in 2015. In 2023-24, they built the grand total of 1 school. Yes, so they've been so successful at running education that we're going to give them total control. So the things that they haven't had control over, now they'll be able to fuck them up. Yes. And so just like the Social Development Department, they'll put money in their pockets. Criminals. Well, speaking of criminals, or at least dishonesty, Eskom lies to the public once again, claiming 272 days without load shedding. Praised by the electric slide minister. We can do it. It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. Could you send so Rabacopa at the Copacabana, the hottest spot north of Havana. That's where you'll find the electricity minister. Kishisenko. Yes, 272 days without load shedding. Liar, pants on fire, Pinocchio. Whoop. Yes, you just call it load reduction. People are still going without electricity. The lying minister, the lying ANC, and the lying Eskom. Unbundle it, privatize it, get these clowns out of the business. Electricity and Energy Minister Dr. Kojisencho Rabakopa has praised power utility Eskom for reaching a milestone of 270 days of no load shedding. That is a lie. That is the lie. As I sit here daily and get messages from people across South Africa who have no power because of load reduction. What is load reduction? Oh, that would be load shedding. Do you think we're stupid? You are, because we're not. Well, the Minister of Minerals and Petroleum, Gwede Mantashe, is under fire for expenditures that some people claim are outlandish. I'm actually going to defend Gwede. You ready for this? All right. Okay, here we go. Ministry of Minerals and Petroleum Resources spent $1.9 million on international travel in 4 months. All right, let me put that in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. 1.9 million rand is $1 million. That means the ministry, a government ministry for a economy north of $300 billion a year, spent $250,000 per month on travel-related expenses. Now, this is a ministry that deals with Shell, Exxon, China Petroleum, BP, Alpha Aquitaine. In other words, energy companies from around the world, trying to get them involved in the energy sector in South Africa, not to mention alternative energy. So in 4 months, they spent 1.9 million, not billion, 1.9 million on travel. Okay. The Ministry of Minerals and Petroleum Resources spent a staggering. It's not staggering. This is fake news. This is fake news by Amanda Koza. Fake news. It's not a staggering amount of money. So they spent $396,000 was spent on Mantashe alone. All right, $396,000 was spent on Gwede Mantashe. That means 100,000 rand per month was spent on Gwede Mantashe's travel. Travel includes expenses for his per diem, for his hotel bill, and his travel. All right, so that's 100,000 per month. Okay, that's $5,000. 5,000 US dollars. What does it cost for me to fly from here, from central Pennsylvania to South Africa on my last trip? $3,200 in economy. And I'm not a state minister. You know the minister's going to fly business class, and he should. Shouldn't be stuck in economy with plebes like me. So they're whining because it spent $5,000 total on his travel. These are ass wipes. Propaganda 24 is irresponsible. This is an effort to destroy Gwede Mantashe. I don't like Gwede Mantashe. I think he's a communist reprobate, but this is ridiculous. This is a non-story. It's a non sequitur. $5,000 a month for his expenses over a 4-month period. Unless he went to Cancun or the French Riviera, what's your beef? What is your beef? This is less money than they spent on freaking, Mama Joy going to the Rugby World Cup. $5,000 for his travel? A hotel, an economy hotel is $100 a night. Never mind a luxury hotel and security detail that have to go with this guy. This is ridiculous. What kind of morons are these people? We want real news stories, not this garbage by Propaganda 24. During these 4 months, Mantashe went on 2 trips while his deputy traveled to one destination. So he went on 2 trips. Okay, great. And he spent 400,000 Rand. That's nothing. It's nothing. Wow. Mantashe made his first trip on September 4th through 6th. He traveled to Perth to attend the Africa Down Under, which was held at Pan Pacific. It's a forum on Australian African business and government relations to raise awareness. Australia. Okay. $306,000 was spent on the trip's accommodation and flights for Mantashe alone. Okay. So that took up the bulk of the money. What are they losing? What do they mind? They're losing their minds over this. They earn enough money to pay their own effing bills. No, Kurtz. No. We elect people to serve us, and they have functions and responsibilities. Do you think as a colonel in the army, I'm supposed to pay my own hotel bill when the government sends me to negotiate a peace agreement in Liberia? That's horse manure. They need to pay for my hotel and pay for my flight. I'm not paying out of my pocket. I'm not rich. That's ridiculous. And neither should a minister, as long as it's legitimate government business. Now, when they pad their accounts and create trips. So let me tell you something here. Okay? When I worked at the National Security Agency, my bosses repeatedly kept coming after me about going to Australia. Go to Australia. We want you to go to Australia. We want you to go to Australia. And I said the problem with going to Australia is that our program was not advanced enough to meet with the Australians, to explain to them the value, to bring them on board to support what we were trying to do to convince the signals community. Now, I could have gone multiple times to Australia. And by the way, I'm allowed to take holiday after I finish my official business or before I do my official business, as long as it's in conjunction. That way, the government essentially pays for my flight. I don't have to pay to fly to Australia. And typically you get hires at a government rate, so I can extend the rental and pay for the days out of my pocket at a government rate, which is perfectly legit. And I'm frugal, so the per diem for meals that I would get every day would have paid for some of my hotel nights. But I never once took a trip to Australia, and I've still not been to Australia. What a dumb mistake that was on me personally, being a good steward of government tax dollars. But the government is responsible for getting me there and paying for it, and the same with Gwede Mantashe. Now, we can argue whether that conference was necessary. That's a legitimate conversation, but that's not what this argument makes. Nope, that's not what this thing makes. So it's just a stupid, stupid story. We're talking about $400,000 over the course of 4 months by a government ministry. Now, the problem is that if you start seeing all kinds of ministries like Home Affairs going to some foreign country, then we've got problems. Yep. Well, Kurtz, you make a very valid point. They do zilch in Parliament, just making points of order. 100%. I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is it's fake news. This is not a real news story. This is people who have very poor judgment trying to get people up in arms about 1.9 million spent on travel. What do you think ministers are supposed to do? Sit in their office and just go to Parliament and sit there and do nothing, which is what Kurtz says they're doing, which a lot of them do. No, they're responsible for interacting with the government officials and with international agencies and businesses around the world. And sometimes that requires traveling to conferences or having meetings in third-party locations. Simple as that, folks. Simple as that. Well, there, Hendo's put one of the groups up. So, the information regulator has imposed a 5 million Rand fine on the education department. So, News 24 just runs a story saying it's an astronomical amount. Look at the exact word there. What did they say the exact word? They said staggering 1.92 million is what a government ministry spent on 4 months of travel for all of its officials. Staggering amount. The toilet paper record, the IOL, reports the story, which is much more honest, shockingly. Information Regulator imposes a 5 million rand fine on the Education Department for the matrix results breach. Except it's not a breach. It's not a breach. It's not a breach. They didn't reveal anybody's names. Nothing can identify anybody. They gave a partial number, which can identify the matriculant. So, wow. Now, that's 5 million. That's 2.5 times what was spent for travel over 4 months. This is a fine. The government's being fined 5 million. People should be up in arms about this. This is ridiculous. The Information Regulator South Africa slapped a Department of Basic Education with a 5 million rand fine for not upholding the enforcement notice issued on November 18th, prohibiting the department from publishing 2024 matrix results in newspapers. Well, they didn't publish them. All they published, I'm so sick of this nonsense. They're saying they're violating the PAPI Act. They're not violating the PAPI Act. It's ridiculous. SABC BD spokesman Elijah Mlanga said that they were going ahead with release results, but will no longer be releasing the names and surnames of the candidates, and therefore are not contravening. They never should have released names and surnames. It never should have been done. The entire time I was in intelligence courses for the U.S. Army, our names were never on the board. It was just the last 4 of our identifying number. And so you looked up and you found your score that way. Yeah. Yeah, process should learn some lessons from the political gravy train. Maybe they could... Exactly. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, so statistics reveal shocking gender-based violence scourge at South African universities. Dr. Ruby Ann Levendahl, Director of Transformation. Director of Transformation. Director of Transformation. Director of Racism. That's what we should start calling these things. Dr. Ruby Ann Levendahl, the Director of Racism at Nelson Mandela University, said complaints of intimate partner violence jumped from last year to 17 years. Oh my gosh! Wow, a university that went from 4 to 17. How many students are at the university? We should discuss that. At least 83 of the 103 cases reported at the university. The accused and the victims were students. How many students are at Nelson Mandela Bay University? 1,000? 2,000? 5,000? 10,000? And there were 17 incidents. That's a big jump, but let's not get carried away. Once again, the media racing to find some story to report. Well, this is a news story. A Gauteng crime blitz, well, actually a enforcement blitz as law enforcement starts doing its job. Merry Christmas to 1,000 suspects arrested, including 171 for crimes against women and children. A total of 1,221 suspects were arrested in Gauteng over the weekend for a wide range of serious crimes, including murder, rape, assault, drug dealing, armed robbery, and possession of unlicensed firearms. The Safer Festive Season Operation Shanela was carried out across multiple districts. Wow. By law enforcement, community policing forum, and private security companies. The crime-fighting blitz, which commenced on December 21st, included strategic roadblocks as well as targeted raids focused on wanted suspects. Wow, 13 suspects were also arrested for drunk driving, 14 for drinking in public, and 5 unlicensed liquor outlets were closed due to noncompliance with regulations. Well, there you go. It's good to see law enforcement doing its job during the holiday season when things get kind of dicey for a lot of folks. Mozambique's opposition is threatening. Well, threatening. Yeah, they are. Chaos as judges prepare to rule on the election. Well, they've ruled, so let's see if the chaos comes. The judges have ruled in favor of Frelimo. We'll see if it happens. Monkeypox. It's not mpox, it's monkeypox. Monkeypox is spreading in Kinshasa, despite efforts to contain the virus. In crowded Kinshasa, 2 strains of monkeypox are sweeping through a community that relies on selling sex. Hundreds of thousands of vaccines went to the country, have not been issued. Let's see. Where is the virus most prevalent and people most heavily affected? Where people are paying for unprotected sex. So how do we stop it? Don't sell sex. Avoid prostitutes. Use condoms if you're stupid. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. Well, Joe Biden has approved $571 million to defend the island of Formosa, Taiwan, the real leaders of China, legitimate rulers of the communist nation. $571 million, which is pissing the Chinese off. President Sleepy Joe Biden on Friday agreed to provide $571 million in defense support for Taiwan. Wow. While the State Department approved the potential sale of $265 million worth of military equipment under the commercial sales program. Wow, that's nearly $1 billion. Democratically governed Taiwan rejects the Chinese communist claims of sovereignty. It's quite the opposite. Taiwan is the legitimate ruler of communist China, not the other way around. Well, China says the Philippines' effort to develop mid-range missiles could be extremely irresponsible. Really? There's the Philippine Military Chief General Romeo Browner listens to exhibitors explain the Wind Demon, a long-range air-to-surface cruise missile. China said a plan by the Philippines to deploy mid-range missiles would be a provocative move that stokes regional tensions. Stoking regional tensions, building a 700, 800 ship navy, building artificial reefs, destroying the environment in the Spratly Islands, in the Scarborough Shoals, and the ludicrous Fantasy 9- line claiming sovereignty over it, stealing land that belongs to the Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia. Attacking Japanese fishing trawlers, firing live rounds at the shoreline of Taiwan. Who is stoking regional tensions? It's not the Filipinos. It is the Chinese communist. Chinese communist. Jan Potgieter, welcome to you. Well, the grifter-in-chief... No, I'm not talking about Cyril Ramaphosa. He's another one. I'm talking about Volodymyr Zelensky. The piano-playing wonder himself is suddenly interested in making peace after leading his people into 3 years of ruin and destruction. A U.S. president and battlefield realities appear to be pushing Zelensky, the grifter-in-chief and likely wanted war criminal, who has long insisted on fighting for every inch of land, to the table. As Ukrainian forces struggle to hold off a Russian army on the battlefield and President-elect Donald Trump looks to broker a peace deal, President Volodymyr Zelensky has in recent weeks signaled a greater willingness for negotiations to end the war, a major shift for the Ukrainian leader who had long vowed to fight for every last inch of his country's land. His messaging has been careful. He has not explicitly said Kiev would agree to concessions, territorial or otherwise, even while Russia occupies more than 20% of Ukraine and would probably retain control of that land after any ceasefire. But after previously stating that negotiations would only begin once Moscow withdrew from all troops, he's now emphasizing the need for long-term security rather than the immediate return of territory. Crimea is gone. The Donbass is gone. And other parts of Ukraine, which the Ukrainians have failed to perfect, despite the fact that Joe Biden's proxy war, distracting from his and his criminals' sons' actions, has poured hundreds of billions of dollars and endangered the NATO alliance and drug neutral Sweden and Norway into NATO. Despite all that, Ukraine is still going to lose. The United Kingdom, with its tiny little military, has a significant foreign military presence. 10,000 British military personnel are deployed overseas during the Christmas period with 60 operations in 44 countries. Boy, they still fancy themselves an imperial power, despite the fact their military is smaller than the U.S. Corps. British deployment to Estonia demonstrates UK's unshakable commitment to NATO. Well, how about you start paying 2% of your GDP into defense spending? Then we'll believe you have an unshakable commitment to NATO, UK. You don't. You're freeloaders. You've always been freeloaders. Yep. Our presence here is a powerful message to our allies and adversaries. UK stands ready to defend its allies and uphold our shared values. If the British military in its entirety had been in Ukraine, there'd be no soldiers left. They would have been obliterated by now. The entire force would have been wiped out, with the many casualties we've seen in Ukraine. Around 900 military personnel are based in Estonia, which is the UK's largest permanent overseas deployment, which is odd because for decades it was Germany. Why is it Estonia? I'm sorry. So, look, I don't like Vladimir Putin, and I'm not going to defend his behavior, but you can understand why he'd say that, we're under threat from the West. I mean, it was 1,000 miles further westward where British troops were stationed in northern Germany on the Norddeutsche Tiefebene, and now they're stationed on the border with Russia in Estonia. Yeah, that's not provocative. That doesn't threaten the Russians. Yeah, 10,000 personnel away during Christmas time in 44 countries. Yep. So Defense Secretary John Healey, a leftist. Yep. Prime Minister Keir Starmer is committed to increasing UK's minimum spend to 2.5%. They're not there yet, so he can lie all he wants. Albania has banned TikTok for 1 year. Wow, after the killing of a teenager. In Tirana, Albania announced a 1-year ban on TikTok following the killing of a teenager last month that raised fears over the influence of social media on children. The ban is part of a broader plan to make schools safer. Prime Minister Edna Rama said the 1,300 meetings with parents and teachers groups from across the country for 1 year will completely shutting it down for everyone. There'll be no TikTok in Albania. So it's not just kids that can't use TikTok, it's everyone. Wow, censorship because of one incident. Congratulations to Turkish Airlines, which now covers more of the world than any other commercial airline. The only airline that covers more of the world than Turkish Airlines is the United States Air Force. Oh my goodness, Roger Rabbit has been missing for ages and suddenly shows up. Turkish Airlines has been officially recognized by Guinness World Records for flying to the most countries worldwide, with 120 nations over the past year. Wow. A 30-country lead over its nearest rival. Turkish Airways, wow, the totalitarian fascist government Erdogan is succeeding in many ways. Well, Sleepy Joe Biden has commuted the sentence of 37 despicable death row inmates on federal death row. And why is this? Well, because he's terrified that Donald Trump will actually follow through on the judgment of the people in the courts and put these heinous criminals to death. 13 people were executed when federal executions were resumed during the Trump administration, and Biden wants to protect sick murderers. In good conscience, I cannot stand back and let a new administration resume executions that I halted. Citing moral and policy objections to capital punishment, he was commuting the death sentence of 37 inmates. Wow. Some pretty nasty people here, including Dzhokhar Tsarnaevich, who, with his now dead brother, bombed the 2013 Boston Marathon, killing 3 and wounding more than 250 others. Robert Bowers, who killed 11 people in the 2018 attack on the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. And Dylan Roof, who in 2015 killed 9 at the Emmanuel African Methodist Church in Charleston. So the left cares so much about Jews and black Americans that they have now commuted the life sentence of those responsible for the death of countless Jews and black Americans in religious centers, houses of worship. Famous cases. So we were told that America is racist because this guy killed 11 people at a synagogue in Pittsburgh. Well, that's not racism. It's bigotry. It's anti-Semitism, not racism. And we were told America's systemic racist because Dylan Roof killed people at a Baptist church in Charleston, South Carolina. And Joe Biden has just given them a free pass. They get to live. They get to live. Wow. Also excluded were 4 servicemen convicted of murder and held on military death row at Fort Leavenworth. Those spared include a former Marine who killed 2 young girls and later a female naval officer. A Las Vegas man convicted of kidnapping and killing a 12-year-old girl. Oh, that's special. A Chicago podiatrist who fatally shot a patient to keep her from testifying in a Medicare fraud investigation. And 2 men convicted of a kidnapping for ransom scheme that resulted in the killings of 5 Russian and Georgian immigrants. Wow. Last week, decrepit, senile Mitch McConnell cautioned Biden to show the condemned men no mercy. Let's be clear what commuting these sentences would mean. It would mean that the laws passed by Congress and applied by our judges and juries have no value. That's exactly what this means. I mean, these aren't people deserving of commutation. These aren't people deserving of pardons. These are people deserving of the final sentence. Yep. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, here is why you cannot trust the media. The Wall Street Journal, which for decades was a reliable, objective news outlet giving legitimate news analysis and reporting the facts, has become a woke-tard, fake media outlet. It's unfortunate, and I pay $52 a month for access to the Wall Street Journal. Just so you know that, $52 a month. That's 1,000 Rand plus I pay a month just to access. God bless it. What's going on here? I'm itching up here. 1,000 Rand a month just to access to Wall Street Journal to bring you these news stories and analyze them. And here's a perfect example of why it's just an unreliable publication. So look at the title of this story, okay? They thought they were nearly done with student loans, but then came Trump. A signature piece of Biden's effort to reduce the $1.6 trillion student loan burden is in limbo, hitting public service workers especially. Then came Trump. Trump has nothing to do with this. They're already blaming Trump for student loan debt forgiveness, which is illegal, not being forgiven. He has nothing to do with it. The courts decided this, not Trump. He's not even in office. They're blaming him already. The Wall Street Journal. Look, I get the New York Times doing it, or the Washington Post, the Chicago Tribune, Atlanta Constitution Journal. That makes sense. MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS. That all makes sense. But the Wall Street Journal? Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. Stacey Eck had July 15th marked on her calendar. It was the day she would have made enough student loan payments to get $100,000 remaining payments wiped out. A few days after she made what she thought was the final payment, she learned forgiveness wasn't happening. On July 18th, a federal appeals court, not Donald Trump, a federal appeals court halted the Saving on a Valuable Education Plan, or SAVE, which had enrolled some 8 million people, including Eck, for borrowers promised a lighter burden of the $1.6 trillion in debt by President Biden. So Stacey Eck borrowed money from us, the taxpayer, and she wants to have that debt forgiven because she's made her payments. I've made my mortgage payments for 9 years. Will you forgive the rest of my mortgage? Somehow it doesn't work like that, you deadbeat. Wow. It was like a punch to the gut, says the 40-year-old. Yeah, they stood to have the remaining loan payment balances cleared if they made 120 qualifying payments, basically a decade of paying off your loan. Then if you paid for a decade in good faith, they would forgive the rest. But who eats that cost? I eat it. You eat it if you're an American taxpayer. Why? Because the Obama administration stole the federal student loan program. The federal student loan program was structured in the following way. When I was a student, the federal government, for those in need, those from low-income families, regardless of your skin pigmentation, black, white, brown, didn't matter, or your religious orientation, or your sexual orientation, didn't matter. The only difference that mattered was you had to be male. If you're male, you had to register for selective service for the draft. If you didn't, you didn't get it. But if you registered for the draft as a male, women didn't have to do it. That's unfair. You talk about equal rights. That's not equal rights. That's bullshit. Anyway, so you register for the selective service. You apply. If you meet the financial threshold, your family income is below the certain number, you qualify for a student loan. The government did not loan you the money. Banks, commercial banks loaned you the money. And the government set the interest rate. So when I made my student loan in 1982, the prime lending rate was like 14%, but the student loan rate was 9%. So it was a good deal, but it's a terrible deal, 9%. These whiny little babies are getting it at 0.5%, 1% or less, and they're crying about paying back debt that they've accrued through their own decisions. So the poor were supposed to get it. So a commercial bank, in my case, Equitable Federal Savings and Loan in Lancaster, Ohio, made me a $2,500 student loan in 1982. I went to the bank to collect the money. They gave me the money, minus $251. Where'd that go? Oh, the federal government's funding fee. You see, it was a revenue service for the federal government. They already made 10% of the money before I walked out the door. 10% of the principal was already taken. I never received it. Yet I had to pay interest on that for years, because the federal government stole that from me, and that's what they did. So, but that's the deal. I didn't have any money, so I had to take a loan. So that's what they did. The loan was guaranteed. That's why the commercial bank would give the money to me, a poor white boy from Appalachia who had no prospects of paying it back unless I got a job after university. They sponsored the loan because I was poor. So if I didn't pay it back, the government would pay the bank. They would get their money in full. But I paid my loan back at 9%. Yeah. And so this deadbeat thinks because she's made her loan payments, it should be forgiven. No, you owe us. You're a thief. You're a greedy thief. Wow. Borrowers say they spend hours on the phone with student loan services who are giving them confusing, sometimes misleading information. Right now, I just feel stuck, says 36-year-old Amber Leonard, an analyst for the health agency in South Carolina. She was 6 payments away from public service loan forgiveness when the SAVE program was halted. Once her loans were forgiven, she had planned to get a new car to replace the used Ford she bought from a neighbor and start helping her husband pay off his $5,000 in private student loans. The pair also wanted to start a college fund for the 13-year-old daughter. Well, you shouldn't have borrowed all the money. You should have gotten into an industry that actually made wages. You could pay back these loans. I have no. I've already said hello to you, Roger Rabbit, twice. Stop being attention-seeking. Oh, my goodness. So she wants her loan forgiven because she's made payments. Whoop-de-frickin-do. Whoop-de-frickin-do. You made your payments. That's your moral obligation. That is your financial. That's your legal obligation. Pay back the debt you owe, you turd. Man, I'm so sick of these people. Freeloaders. Freeloaders. Wow. Unbelievable. They want a free ride. Well, Donald Trump is threatening to take back the Panama Canal, and I'm loving it. He is trolling Panama. He's trolling Denmark. He's trolling the leftists. He's trolling everybody. The president-elect's provocative comments about the canal draw an angry rebuke from Panama's president. Well, I don't really give a flying flip about Panama's president. Panama has been reneging on the deal we made with them under the corrupt Carter regime 40 years ago. So Trump says control of Greenland is an absolute necessity. Oh, my goodness. Are we going to go to war over Greenland? The United States previously sought to buy Greenland in 1867 and again in 1946. President-elect Trump said on December 22nd that U.S. control and ownership of Greenland is an absolute necessity for national security and freedom throughout the world. Wow. Wow. His comments came as he announced PayPal co-founder and former Trump administration U.S. ambassador to Sweden, Ken Howry, as his nominee for U.S. ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark. We're going to get Greenland. I love it. 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 So this is another dishonest headline. Okay, this is dishonest. This is fake news again. The New York Slimes runs a dishonest article trying to tarnish the incoming Trump administration by giving the title Trump Transition Live Updates. Okay, this is an update on Matt Gaetz, who's not as part of the Trump transition. He was briefly announced as a nominee, and then he withdrew. So let's talk about this nonsense for Attorney General. Trump Transition Live Updates Ethics Panel draft report accuses Gaetz of regularly paying for sex and using drugs. That may very well be the case, but he has nothing to do with the Trump transition. This is a smear campaign already underway by the New York Times. A draft report by the House Ethics Committee accused former Representative Matt Gaetz, a Republican of Florida, of regularly paying for sex, using illegal drugs, and having sexual relations with an underage girl. The report found that from 2017 to 2020, he regularly paid women for engaging in sexual activity, possessed illegal drugs, including cocaine and ecstasy, on multiple occasions, and in 2017 engaged in sexual activity with a 17-year-old girl. Well, cocaine, ecstasy, criminal acts, paying for prostitutes, criminal acts in most locations except in parts of Nevada or overseas, and having sex with a 17-year-old is not a crime. It may be distasteful, but it's not a crime in most jurisdictions. Yep, consensual sex. But whatever, I'm not defending Matt Gaetz. The Trump regime made a poor decision in nominating him, but I think it was just to help him get off. Trump has picked Callista Gingrich to be his ambassador to Switzerland. The former ambassador to the Holy See under the previous Trump administration will once again get a cushy job, this time in Bern. In announcing his choice of various envoys, including ambassador to Denmark, the president-elect floated the idea of the United States acquiring Greenland. We already talked about that. Ms. Gingrich, the wife of Newt Gingrich, former House Speaker and a loyal Trump ally. Yep. Selection of Ms. Gingrich came amid a spat of announcements on Sunday, which include the choice of Mauricio Clavier Carone, who served as Trump's first term as the Senior Director of Western Hemisphere Affairs as the State Department's Special Envoy for Latin America. He also picked Ken Howry, who I mentioned earlier, as the Ambassador to Denmark. Yep. Anyway, so wow. Callista, I want to say Flockhart all the time, but it's not Callista Flockhart. It's Callista Gingrich is now going to be the ambassador to Switzerland. So I guess I have to strike that off my Christmas list. Joe Biden touts a $1 trillion manufacturing comeback. Will his legacy survive? Well, there is no legacy to survive. This corporate welfare needs to end. As President Biden nears the end of his term, he's focused on communicating to the American public what he's accomplished. Nothing except destroying the world. Amid low public approval on his economic record, he wants to show that his policies have a lasting positive impact on the economy. Yeah, he had a 383-page report released on December 19th about supply chain review, claiming that they did well. But look at all this corporate welfare. In the years that Biden has been president, we have given $319 billion to subsidies in energy, $228 billion in subsidies to EV batteries and critical minerals, $23 billion in food subsidies, $73 billion in medical subsidies, $546 $500 billion in subsidies to semiconductors and information technology, and $50 billion for heavy industry, as well as $1.25 billion total. My goodness, that's insane. And he claims these great jobs. Corporate welfare, that's money out of my pocket to enrich somebody who's rich. Doesn't make any sense. Let's go, Brandon, leave the White House. Well, Donald Trump plans, the Washington Compost whining about Trump in the media. They're fearful that they're going to have to pay a price for their propaganda, their lies, their slander, and their bigotry. Press freedom advocates say they fear that the second Trump administration will ramp up pressure on journalists in keeping with the president-elect's combative rhetoric. Well, he should pick up the pressure on the fake media who lie and slander and libel people on a daily basis. You just saw two cases of the Wall Street Journal with a lie about Donald Trump and the student loan program. But Trump has nothing to do with it. He'll have something to do with it coming in January, but he has nothing to do with it. Blaming him for this woman not getting a free ride or $100,000 debt she owes, that's not Trump's fault. That's the federal appeals court. And you see it here again. Baseless allegations that Trump is attacking the press by the press. Mary will not be online for Christmas Day. Well, will you be online tomorrow? Tomorrow is Boxing Day. Not Boxing Day, excuse me. It's it's Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. All right. Trump's recent settlement with ABC News and the cascade of lawsuits and other complaints against media entities from him and his allies signal a ramped-up campaign from the president-elect. The law in this country hasn't really changed. What has changed is the atmosphere and hostility to the press is intense, and that emboldens plaintiffs of all kinds. No, you guys are shameful shameful, and you need to pay prices for your lies, destroying people's reputations. Donald Trump continues to troll. This time he's trolling over Mount McKinley, which I've never called Mount Denali since Obama changed the name. The president-elect said he would revert the names of multiple U.S. military bases as well. Fort Bragg will once again be Fort Bragg. He vows reverse name change of the tallest mountain in North America. Yep. They took his name off Mount McKinley, he said. He was a great president. He'll bring back the name of Mount McKinley because I think he deserves it. Wow. That's going to make a few Native Americans unhappy. Well, under pressure, Telegram has done something it's never done before. Telegram, the social media app, is turning a profit. Congratulations. Even as Telegram faced legal scrutiny and grapples with billions in debt, it is set to be profitable for the first time as it tries cryptocurrencies, subscriptions, and ads. Wow, folks, look at that. Making some money here for once. Telegram is set to be profitable for the first time ever. Revenue is on track to surpass $1 billion this year, up from $350 million last year. Telegram also has about $500 million in cash reserves, not including its crypto assets. It has 1 billion users, including 12 million subscribers who pay $5 a month for added features. That's $60 million a month in revenue from 5 million people. This is why I said Trump would have been a billionaire if he created an all-inclusive social media platform when he got out of office that had a Twitter-like function, a YouTube-like function, a Facebook-like function, Instagram-like function, bring it all together under one conglomerate. People would pay $25 a month for access to that. I would, unlimited access to that. I would do that for a free speech platform that provided all that. I'd pay $25 a month. Imagine, that's $5 from 12 million users. I said 20 million people would sign up for this worldwide at $25. 25 million people at $25. Revenue alone, 25 million people times $25 a month. That is I said a year. $625 million a year just in subscription revenue is what they would make. Wow. And that's less than what Telegram's charging. Telegram's charging $5 a month. It's $60 a year. I pay $25. $25 a month, that's $625 million a month. Times 12. Folks, that's $7.5 billion a year. Did I get that right? Wow. Wow. Well, Joe Biden's brilliant, wonderful, excellent, amazing economic progress in Bidenomics. And what do we see? Two more venerable names folding tents. Big Lots is going out of business. Yep, the discount store said that an agreement with the capital investment firm has fallen through and it will begin its out-of-business sale soon. Big Lots has been around for a long time. Big Lots CEO Bruce Thorne said in a statement that Big Lots attempted to complete the sale of the company to Nexus Capital, but it fell through. Wow. Big Lots, headquartered in Columbus, Ohio, operates more than 1,400 stores across 48 states. The firm has closed a number of locations since it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Big Lots had listed its assets and liabilities range of $1 billion to $10 billion, but it owed creditors a range of $5 to $10 billion. Wow. Company stock declined by more than 98% in the past year. As of Thursday, Big Lots stock dropped another 7% to just 9 cents per share. A year ago, it stood at $7 a share. Wow. So how many thousands of jobs will be lost there? Tens of thousands of jobs will be lost because Big Lots is folding up in Joe Biden's perfect economy. Make no mistakes, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is inheriting an economy that is slowing down, that is retreating, that is shrinking. He is inheriting an economy that's in distress from Joe Biden. And Trump is going to get a spat of negative economic numbers that will appear in the first year, none of which he has anything to do with. I'm saying this right now. None of which Donald Trump has anything to do with. He will get negative reports, and he'll be blamed for an economy in recession next year, should we slide in recession. But he had nothing to do with it. Party City is also going out of business after 40 years. They'll start a wind down of retail and wholesale operations as it closes 700 stores nationwide. That's 2,100 retail locations suddenly will be available. So the people that own the locations won't be making any more money. Wow. Chapter 11 bankruptcy for the second time in 2 years. Wow. New Jersey-based company is the largest retailer of party goods in North America and has long considered itself the global leader in celebrations industry. But it's gone. Another one of Joe Biden's success stories. His economic prowess is unbelievable. Joe Biden, the genius economic man. The party is indeed over. Right. So let's get back to the chat and say hello to everybody. That's the news for the day so far. Jonathan, can I sell some drones? Huh? Intimidating fishing boats? What? Okay. Hey, Claudette Birkett, Merry Christmas to you. I just managed to catch your chat in here. Where's the times on these timestamps? There we go, Claudette. So that was 11:36. That was a half hour ago. Hope you're still with us, Claudette. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you. Yeah, okay, where are we at? Did I miss anything else? I'm sure I missed a few things, so my apologies. I'm not skipping anybody on purpose. Watch YouTube podcast on Romania. Very interesting. They have increased their military spending response to Russia. Charles, nice to see you there. Yeah, Romania is a special interest of mine because of the German community there. What are they going to do about the Kursk region? Well, that's going to be a point of contention, don't you think? But the Russians are doing well there now, are they not? Roger Rabbit's having a victory party. Since you haven't told us where you're at, I don't think anybody can attend. Trevor Bush, hello to you. Matthew Dixon. Slippery Pickles here. Make quality education affordable. Well, yes, but quality education has become less affordable because of grants and endowments for the elite schools, which have billions of dollars in endowments, and they can spend what they want, and they drive up the price. And it's also become more expensive because of all the DEI money that's wasted. It's also become expensive because of all the lawsuits that these universities have to face because of their racist policies against majority Americans. And it's also become expensive because these schools have intentionally inflated the price of education to take advantage of the free money that's flowing because the federal government hands out student loans to anybody that wants them, not just those who qualify. That's why it's gone up. I did a analysis several years ago while I was still on active duty, and I took inflation-adjusted dollars and looked at the tuition for what I paid back in the 1980s, late 1980s, $450 per quarter, so $1,350 a year for tuition for 3 terms, and compared it against what the students pay now. Adjusted my 1988, $87, $89 for inflation, and it was still nearly 300% more expensive for the same education that I got in 1989. Something tells me that the quality of education that the students at Ohio University are getting in 2024 is not 350% or more better than my education was in the late 1980s. And I didn't have to deal with retarded, woke-tard nonsense and racism against majority Americans and white males. I didn't have to deal with that on campus. We had a few leftist instructors, but they were all objective and fair. No one got their papers downgraded because they didn't spew leftist hate-wanking narratives. Keith Alderson is here. Welcome. So you're saying something to Matthew Dixon, Keith, that apparently doesn't like my sweater? Whatever. Yes, we built the Panama Canal. 38,000 people died. When Trump talks about issues, he's actually making suggestions, but people seem to take it as fact. Exactly. It's so funny. And Trump has never, done a lot of things he said. So people just need to grow up. That's like the tariffs against Mexico and Canada. It was meant to get them to do their damn job, and that's what they're doing. Their damn job now. Okay, what has Gates got to do with anything? Exactly. Gates has nothing to do with anything. He's a former congressman. He's not part of the Trump transition team. He has nothing to do with it. It's fake news by the New York Times. This is why the press are under assault, because people are tired of their garbage, and they don't see it. They think that's fair. The headline of the Wall Street Journal, Trump came along. Trump had nothing to do with it. What the hell kind of nonsense? That is it's an intentional smear on Trump. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's just a smear. Mr. Magoo. Let's go, Brandon. It's starting to mean something. Yeah, let's go as his days dwindle down. Mary says, you're looking more and more like Santa. Every time you rub your face, it gets a deeper red. Since I probably won't be in line. Okay, well, Merry Christmas. Save Chris. Stop giving him milk and cookies. All right, Mary, thank you. Mark Myberg is here. Aha, we saw a picture earlier. There's Mark. Welcome, Mark. Chris, if a state has a law, the death penalty, how can the president of the federation rule it? The government can't. The government can't. The 37 people that Joe Biden has commuted have federal death sentences. They have convictions for federal crimes, and the death sentence is federal. So the reason why the guys at the South Carolina church shooting and the synagogue in Pittsburgh shooting are on death row is because they were charged with federal civil rights violations. and basically use domestic terror legislation to go after them. So they criminalized their act at the federal level so they could put them on death row. They could still be convicted and sentenced to death in a state court. Absolutely. That's not double jeopardy. Yeah. So, the federal government, that's the reason why Trump can't pardon himself for the New York case. It's a civil case in New York state law. The federal government has no purview over it. It's like, so it always kills me because Americans understand that. A lot of them, they understand the president can't pardon someone for a state crime. That's why the whole thing with Hunter Biden being off the hook, he's not off the hook. The crimes he committed were state crimes as well. It's up to the prosecuting attorneys, which will never happen in California, in New Jersey, leftist states. They could charge him for the crimes. As long as statute of limitations hasn't expired, which is what they're trying to do, let the clock run out, they could charge him for cocaine abuse, for possessing a firearm despite being a convicted felon. These are criminal acts in most states. For prostitution, for all sorts of things, for sleeping with his daughter, all kinds of whatever he did, didn't do. They can prosecute him, but he cannot be charged and prosecuted by the federal government because his father was given a pardon, which he promised he'd never do. But what I find always fascinating is that when I tell people that the president doesn't have any authority over you and me as an American, people are just puzzled. An executive order is not a law. An executive order does not apply to America, but the presidencies use it as if it does. No, an executive order is something that applies to the executive branch. So when I was a commissioned officer in the Army, it applied to me. So when the president signs the executive order, I have to follow it. But you don't have to follow it, my neighbor. You don't have to follow it, the guys that work at Wendy's. You don't have to follow it, the people who work at the supermarket, because you're not in the federal government. You don't fall under the authority of the president. Only the military, the Federal Aviation Administration, Social Security Administration, the National Archives, any federal government employee falls under the president, and they must adhere to it. That's the fascinating thing. Mark, did I answer your question? Matthew wants to buy a lot of cocaine for $625 million. Okay. We started doing that, throwing presses here in the UK now. We have too many new residents. Do you guys also take pins out first? I have no idea what you're talking about there, Keith. Hey, Light Rain, Merry Christmas to you. How's it going out on the West Coast? The art of the deal. Trump keeps people off balance as a negotiating tactic. It works. People don't know if they're going to a board meeting or a knife fight. Exactly. And that's what the press has never gotten, or they don't care to get. Now, the left doesn't care to get it because they just want to stoke hatred. Tom Smith says Panama was a province of Colombia until USA built the canal. We signed a treaty, and it became U.S. soil, and that's where John McCain was born, in the Panama Canal Zone, because his father was an admiral. Yep. Take Trump about 3 years to turn the economy around. In the interim, he will take a lot of unwarranted bad publicity. Correct. Matthew wouldn't spend that amount of money in super chats. Really? You wouldn't do super chats? Well, I'll tell you what. You don't have to do super chats. You can just do PayPal, Matthew. There you go. You can do PayPal, brother. There it is. There's the PayPal. Merry Christmas. I do get the street certificate as Greenland, but how is Trumpster going to pull that one off? Nick, I don't know. I don't think he's going to pull it off. I think he's just looking for basing rights and for, a little bit of concession from Denmark. It's funny because the media reports, Greenland, a self-governing province ruled by Denmark. Well, how can you be self-governing and be ruled by Denmark? Well, you can, but it's kind of a hang on a second here. What's going on now? Just a second. All right, so that's the Veterans Organization. Oh, Hunter was your real question. Well, Hunter's crimes, the federal crimes, have been pardoned, but state crimes can be punished. So I think I did answer your question. Self-governing automated region, autonomous region that falls under the Kingdom of Denmark. Exactly, Charles. What value does Greenland have for Denmark? Isn't it a money-losing venture? Greenland has value for Denmark because it makes it a stronger player in NATO. Greenland, from a standpoint of defense for NATO, is very important. Also, there is the potential of massive amounts of minerals and petroleum and natural gas under the glaciers and the ice cap that is on Greenland. So yeah, also there's a long relationship there. There's mixed race Inuit Greenlanders with Danes, and lots of Danes who live there. So it's something they've had for centuries, and they're not letting go of it. Yep. All right. So there's the PayPal. So that ought to set the trigger off for the folks who suck on eucalyptus leaves down under. Yeah, autonomous. Yeah, I know what you're getting at. So, yeah. So that's the value of Greenland. It has, but from a geostrategic standpoint, it's critically important. Greenland makes Denmark a much bigger player in NATO, much bigger player. The Danish Jutland Peninsula is also critically important, but that's just a bottling up the Russian fleet in the Baltic. Yep. So, Greenland is critically important. It always has been. But and as the climate zealots kick their religion into high gear, climate change is a bigger and bigger issue for Greenland as well. So we got to keep that in mind. Anyway, it's December 23rd, 2 days to Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that Santa treats you all well and gives you what you're looking for, what you're hoping for anyway. I don't know about rare earth elements in Greenland. We haven't, there's not much, it's difficult to mine and explore there with these massive ice caps. I mean, a huge amount of the world's fresh water is stored on the surface of Greenland with these massive ice caps. In fact, it's so much ice that the island has sunk. It's the weight is so oppressive on Greenland, the world's largest island, that it's just, it's made the thing sink in the center. It's bowed. What am I bringing Dylan? Joy. I got it from Kamala Harris. Sorry, folks. Andres Svart, several famous Hollywood stars said they'd leave America if Trump wins. Yeah, they do this all the time. Cher was going to leave with Bush won. She didn't leave. They're just all liars. Nobody cares about them. They're nobodies. They're has-beens. They're not going to be's. All I want is a white Christmas. All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. Hey, wait. I got them. I got all my teeth. They're still there. Mama Joy or Joy Behart. Send me Kamala's Joy and you'll receive a similar package stating return to sender. That's pretty good, Devil. I like that. Yes. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. My goodness. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we got no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. It doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping. Lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. And we finally kiss goodnight. How I hate going out in the storm. If you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. There you go. I thought we did a little bit of that with the weather outside. It's frightful. Yes. See Tom McDonald. Yeah, Tom McDonald's Christmas song rocks, man. It's pretty cool. Charles says not a bad voice. Awfully Christmas here this evening, and the Grinch behind the operation is here. Hey, Paulie, how's it going? Yeah, so we had a good turnout for the rugby this weekend. A better turnout for the Sharks-Bulls game than we had for the Stormers game, probably because we're playing the Lions. But yeah, so thanks for the people who showed up. I had like 15,000 views on Saturday, which is nice to see. Hang on a second. Okay, I think you'll have to settle whatever Christmas you get, white, brown, black, or yeah, whatever Christmas you get. Yeah, no. Anyway, Christmas. So, yeah. Oh, I've got so much to do before the new year. So much to do. I've got to pay taxes. I've got to figure out how much money I've got to pay for taxes. Yep, but I've had less consulting income this year. That's another reason why the year's been trying. I have to look and see if I can delete. I don't think I can delete political contributions to my own campaign. I don't think I can do that. Hey, Richard says, thanks. Personally, I asked for no Christmas presents. Rather, ask donation for veterans and orphanages. That's the good wishes. Well, I'm a veteran. You can donate to me. I'm a 36-year veteran. Richard, but thank you. I'm watching AI movies evolving. It keeps up. There will be no Hollywood in 10 years. No more aging, obnoxious actors. No billion-dollar remote location shoots. Movies made at home. Yeah, no. No, right, Ray, we will get there. That's exactly where we'll wind up at. Yep, that's exactly where we'll wind up at eventually. Yep. Peter said, well done, Chris. When you come to Fellsville, we can sing together. Bring my guitar along. Yeah, Petra, I think that the next trip, maybe I should get up to Feldriff, Fontaine, Feldriff, maybe go a little further this time, up north where I haven't been. So, yeah, that should be on my agenda. That'd be one way to get to the Northern Cape, but that's a long drive from there, so I probably won't do that. I'll probably fly. It's a lot of kilometers, a lot of petrol. Best thing about being poor is that you never need to give out money for tax except VAT. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I could show you my electric bill and all the taxes on it, which aren't too bad. I can show you my cable bill, which has excessive amount of taxes. My cable bill should be $149, but it's $281. So that is $132 in taxes and fees. Yep, that's what I pay. That is nearly half my bill. Nearly half my bill. I think that's excessive. So whether you're poor or you're rich, that's what you pay. My mobile bill is full of taxes too, but T-Mobile takes that on the chin. They include that in the price, which means they make less revenue. But yeah, so fully a third of my mobile bill is also taxes and fees. Yep. Yep. When will you hear about your application for office? Well, I haven't applied for office. I've been asked. I was asked to send my curriculum vitae in for a position in the Defense Department under Pete Hegseth. And I've got, actually I had a job application somewhere else. I don't think that they're going to hire me, the people where I put a job application. It was just on a lark because it looked interesting. So let me just see. Let's see if I can find. Last I looked, it was still open, which means they're probably looking at a bunch of applicants. But this is for January, so they're really screwing off. It's a bit late. So let's see if they've turned it down. Okay. No, I submitted November 15th, 5 weeks ago. It's still in progress. Wow. Wow. I'm going to have to go back in and ask them what's going on with that. So, yep. Yep, sales tax, which value-added tax is what they pay there. Gasoline tax. Yeah, petrol tax is something the poor pay. So consumption taxes hit the poor really hard. But you know what? It's fair. I mean, if you use it, you should pay for it. Income tax is morally bankrupt, but we're stuck with it. 2% of South Africans actually pay income tax. That's sad. It's sad that only 2% pay it. It's also sad that so few people make money that only 2% pay it. It's the Christmas go slow. My stone doesn't bleed, not for SARS. Well, mine bleeds for the IRS. It sucks. And for the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue. Thankfully, my military retirement is taxed heavily by the federal government, but the state government doesn't tax my military retirement. That's a saving grace. That saves me a couple $1,000s a year, easily. But then on top of that, you know, even if you're poor, you're still paying taxes. You're paying rent. You're renting from someone. You're paying taxes. You may not be paying them directly, but you're paying them. In the UK, if you rent, you are paying them directly. If you live in the UK, you have to pay council taxes as a renter. What kind of horse manure is that? What kind of country makes people pay council taxes on their rental property? You don't own the property. Why are you paying council taxes? That's what the owner of the property is supposed to do. Wow. Peeketburg is 60 kilometers from Feldriff. Come visit. Okay. Peeketburg. I don't know where that's at. Let me take a look at that. Maps. Okay, let me see. Piketberg. Oops, it's not a P. Peeketburg, South Africa. Okay, there we go. Looks like a tiny little town. It's got a Dutch Reformed church, and it is at the base of a mountain. Okay. Yeah. There's citrus doll out on here. Oh, I've been up that way. Yeah, I've been up that way because I've been to Citrus Doll. So Peeketburg, I went right by it. I went right by it. Yep. I went to Citrusdal, and so I went right by Piketberg. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. That's easy enough. That's easy enough. Go hiking on that mountain if it's safe. Yeah, no, I've been right by there. Yeah, that's where you come around the mountain and you turn left, and then you go up to go to Citrusdal. I know exactly where it's at. I've been there. Just didn't recognize the name. There's like a mine just below the town. It's a quarry. De Hoek Quarry. Oh, here's a scam call. Let me turn that off. Yep. So, yep. You could distill a drum of vodka. Not very good, comrade. Okay. Open invite. Church and Bottle Store. It's on the N7. Yeah, I see that. That's the Cape route, isn't it? Won't be a white Christmas, 38 degrees. Wow, that's crazy. It's not really a city. I'd call that a town or a village. That's a dorp to me. But yeah, I've driven on the, what is it, the R399? Is that the one? Yeah, yeah. And then when you come out right at the base of the mountain, you turn left and go north. Yep, been there. And then you go right into Piketberg. Yeah, I've been there. Yep. There's a guest house, the Views Guest House. Let's check that out. Lemon Tree Self-Catering. The Views. What are they charging? $48. That's a little pricey for a guest house. De Berge Guest House. What are they charging? They're charging $39. That looks a little rougher. $86. What's this? Self-catering for $86. Man, that's pricey. We are on R39. Are you really? I drove up by your house then, because I left Feldruf and that's where I went. I'll admit that when I left Feldruf, I was driving pretty fast on that route. Yeah, 399. I left that town and I drove pretty fast to get over there. You go past Vittewater. Yeah, that was the Banghoek Private Reserve. So I went to Citrusdal and I covered the. In fact, I covered the what the bridge was being repaired. It's since been washed out again, apparently. So, Citrus Citrusdal. There you go. Post-flood reconstruction. It was hot. It was hot. So come on, where are we at? Get this up here. Hello, folks, and welcome back once again. This is Chris reporting from Citrusdal at the base of the Cederberg Mountains here in the Western Cape in South Africa, where just over a month ago, massive floods wiped out the access to the main highway here, and the town itself, about 7,000 people, was cut off completely from the outside world for a bit. Difficulty getting folks, get this causeway built back here, but as you can see behind me here, reconstruction of this effort's well underway. We got graders out here, a work crew, and they've been repairing this and putting this back in place. Quite an effort here. The traffic coming through has to wait one side for about 10 minutes before they wave them through. So each side you got to wait about 10 minutes if you're trying to come into Citrusdal, at least right now, as they seek to repair the roads, folks. Yep, so that was that one, and then I had another one. Let me see, where's the other one at? Did 2 videos from that up there, and then I went and I went down and I did the freaking zip line stuff, which was pretty cool. So this is when I was a little bit further south, and that would be when I was down in Ceres. So this is Ceres. I filmed this in Ceres, and it was frozen the next morning. Come on, YouTube, cooperate. Hello, folks. This is Chris with an update once again on that situation in Citrusdal, where I reported previously that the causeway was being worked on. I got a chance to speak with the firm responsible for that work taking place there. That is Stephen Duplessis Construction Company. I actually got a chance to sit down with Mr. Duplessis to talk about what's happening, and he assured me that things are going quite well in the project and that within a fortnight, the road should be complete, and that includes the coal tar surface. Yep. So then I went ziplining in Ceres. That was pretty cool. Let me see. Did I do any videos on that? Actually, that's YouTube search. I went Oh, here you go. Sarah's Zipline Adventures. Cool beans. Come on, YouTube. Quit being so difficult. This is a short. Yeah, that's not scary at all. That's not scary at all. It's one of them. Oh, hang on a second. Where's the other one? Okay. Let me see. He's wound up being shorts. There we go. What? Why is it not corresponding? YouTube's being difficult here. All right, here we go. Look at those army trousers and army boots. That was cool, huh? Yep, I went to Sarah's. I wasn't planning on that, but just planning on getting to Sarah's because I'd never been. I know that's where all the fruits and vegetables come from, so I always want to go there. So, yep, yeah, cool beans. All right, yep. All right, yeah, Richard says, awesome, yeah. What's this? I remember that podcast says, Charles. Yeah, me too, man. God and whiskey. Okay. All right, so we're at about an hour and a half. Is the Ronaldo Meister on today? Let's see. Yeah, he's on. He's got 70 people currently right now. So I'm gonna send you over there if you want. You obviously don't have to go, but some people do want to go. So my drone video still hasn't hit 1,000. That's really annoying. I put a lot of effort into that video. That's good analysis. But I got to finish a news story. That's why I'm going to have to head out of here shortly. Come on. Okay. Okay, so we'll send you over to Ronaldo if you want to go over there. Oh, YouTube is really slow today. It's not my internet provider, it's YouTube. Thanks, everybody. Merry Christmas. I hope I'll see you tomorrow for Christmas Eve. Yep, so then we got Sylvester Abend, New Year's Eve, coming up very soon. Thanks a lot, everybody. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you hopefully tomorrow, unless something breaks story-wise. Cheers, and be safe out there. Don't become a victim of something. Watch out wherever you're at. Keep your radar about you. See you guys tomorrow. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Uh, 2025 is gonna be